What is up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of what I'm calling Premodern Braggin Rights. These are non-tournament associated games that we recorded mostly just for, well, bragging rights. We are still going to be doing the monthly tournament coverage as well. This is just a fun way to get some additional games on the channel, especially when one of the monthly tournaments is more towards the end of the month and I've run out of videos of the past tournament to edit, like we are now. So without further ado, let's get into the game. First up, we have Mose on his version of the Rock, and this is a very pretty deck, I have to say. Most of these seem to be foils, which is super sweet. Love the arena swamps. That's pretty awesome. Trying to see if there's anything specific to call out. This does run a lot of Balos and Tuskers, has the recurring nightmares, which is always a good package. Some Call of the Herds, which I think might be a little unusual. Prexen Ragers, love that card. Beautiful looking treetop villages. And yeah, it seems to be just a really solid green-black the Rock list. Sideboard is pretty straightforward as well. A couple of Haunting Echoes, which is nice. Some Tempting Worms for those control matchups, or mono-red aggro matchups, I think would also be a good spot to bring those in. Naturalizes, of course, some more creature removal, and 4 copies of Plagues, and the 4th copy of Duress. Alright, seems pretty solid. Next up, we have David on his own Spicy Brew 5-color Tireless Flashback. Now, this is a flashback deck. There is a lot of graveyard interaction, some cool pieces like Ray of Revelation, Roar the Worm, Prismatic Strands. There's definitely a lot of blue-white control elements in here as well. He does have a Cunning Wish package too, which I'll get into when we go over the sideboard. But the fun part about this is a combo, potentially even turn to kill, with Tireless Tribe and About Face. Tireless Tribe is something I'm sure not a lot of people know about. It is a 1-drop for 1 white mana. Discard a card from your hand. Tireless Tribe gets +0/+4 till end of turn. And then About Face is switch target creature's power and toughness until end of turn, and then it has some stuff that helps it work in Layers interaction. But that's also at instant speed for a red. So the combo here is you have Tireless Tribe out, you discard most of your hand except for About Face and swing in for a boatload of damage. Now, the Cunning Wish sideboard had some additional tricks, some protection as well, and even a way to give that guy flying, which could be super unexpected, and it has definitely gotten me on several occasions. Overall, just a super fun deck. Really excited to see how it performs, and of course, just an amazing looking deck as well. I think it's mostly foil, just super cool. Very excited to see this play. Let's get into the games. And here we go with game number 1. This is also the first time we're trying the new camera setup, which hopefully get rid of any and all camera shake. This means nobody bumps the light stand. And speaking of lights, this is still with the old light setup. I do think it's a little bit better than it was last time. I did order a brand new light that unfortunately did not get here in time for this recording session, but it's all ready to go for, well, next month's tournament. So looks like Dave is going to win the die roll here. And I also just want to say thank you to everyone who's stuck with the videos as I've worked on trying to get the quality better. Thank you again also to people who comment encouraging things, and also maybe tips and tricks as well. That's always great. Oh, looks like we're just going to go straight fetch into the combo piece, the Tireless Tribe creature. And maybe David will have that turn to kill I was talking about. Alright, we got the duel of the foils here a little bit. Okay, we got a Cabal Therapy. I'm assuming Mose is going to name the second piece of this combo About Face. Trying to avoid getting demolished on turn 2. So, see what David has in hand. Battling Mage, a Lair, Cunning Wish, so we can go get that About Face next time. And we got the Worms as well. Okay. Alright, just swinging in for 1. Then gonna play out Battling Mage. I don't know what he's gonna name here. I'm curious. maybe an edict effect, or probably he's probably naming Cabal Therapy, I'd imagine, to prevent further card loss. Having a little discussion, I think, on card names. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I want to mention, guys. It's okay to point out lines of play. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's alright to point out lines of play and mistakes and all that kind of stuff. Just be nice about it. There's definitely been some people on the internet who are not so nice about their Premodern comments, and I just want to call that out. That it's okay to call out mistakes, especially mistakes I make, because this is always a learning process. But yeah, just be nice, be cool. I know that's a lot to ask for the internet sometimes, but I found most of the Premodern community to be very cool, very welcoming, and I greatly appreciate that. And I know the people who play these videos also watch these videos, and they appreciate that as well. Alright, so we got Wall Blossoms out for Mose, drawing a card, passing it back to David. And David's just going to go to combat. Getting chip damage through right now. Oh, just gonna... Okay, yeah, just taking one from the Tireless Tribe. And main phase 2, gonna go fetch. It looks like passing the turn after that. Alright, we're doing a little bit of shortcutting in the game here, which is fine as long as both players are on board. And interesting, Melee Mage did not name Cabal Therapy. That is an interesting choice. I guess what could he have named otherwise? We should get a little whiteboard or something for the players to write down Melee Mage and Cabal Therapy claims. Might help. So David looking through his sideboard real quick, trying to decide if he wants to Cunning Wish in response to this Cabal. And it looks like that'll be the case. He's gonna grab the flying spell. I forget what that one's called exactly. But then Mose is just going to name that, and that's what gets discarded. So yeah, the Melee Mage must be on some sort of creature removal. Trying to prevent the Tireless Tribe from getting targeted. Which is an interesting choice. And Mose is going to get an elephant. Oh, so that's what Meddling Mage named. Okay, interesting. Call of the Herd. Alright, there's an edict. And... and Tribe's going to get some value. Really quickly discard the worms. Makes sense. That cave's only being on one makes it a good target for the lair, but looks like he's just gonna spend it. Yeah, realizing can't bounce it back after it's been spent, bounce a different land, and it's gonna play out. The worms get a nice little 6/6. Six for 4 mana is pretty good in Premodern. Gotta say. And even with his hand getting kind of torn apart, David having a pretty strong board presence here. And oop, spoke too soon. There we go. I think that's the smother, right? Destroy target creature with 3 CMC or less. Tokens obviously don't have CMC, so good choice for that. That's actually maybe what I would have named with Meddling Mage if I was going for the creature removal. But we're gonna get Meddling Mage swinging in for 2 here. Obviously wanting to hold up mana for swords. And we got a second mage. Naming... well, who knows what. Interesting, also playing out the birds, not leaving swords mana open. A little aggressive, I think. Obviously the rock runs lots of removal and lots of big creatures. I almost would want to keep something out. Yeah. Granted, Mose can just sack the Bailiff to the sword, so it's not the best play to try and swords that, but it is still a 4/4 with a little bit of crud on it, apparently. Might be time to change out those sleeves, Mose. Alright. So, yep, gonna sack in response, go to combat, take that 4 back. And is that... not Cunning Witch, that's the one where you get to put 3 flashback. Quiet Speculation. Yeah, so 3 flashback cards get to go in the graveyard. What is gonna be the choices here? Deep Analysis makes sense, get some card draw. You throw another Roar of the Worms in there? Maybe. Ooh, put in both other copies of Roar of the Worm in there. I don't know if Mose, or I can't remember if Mose has main deck Graveyard Hate, but he could. Either way, though, putting out 6/6 threats every turn seems like a good plan, unless your opponent can get a ton of squirrel blockers. Alright, we got a Hermit. The minions have shown up. That is a lot of power in a can. So we know one of the mages is naming Call of the Herd. What is the other one naming? It could be Cabal. Alright, get a 6/6 out. Get at least jump block. And just gonna pass the turn. Mose forgetting to untap and passing the turn. I will say this was a little bit later in the night, so we've all had maybe a beer or two. We know those lands are untapped. Oh, somebody bumped the camera stand. Like I said, no camera shake, hopefully, that you guys have noticed, except for that little bit. Alright, we're gonna just all block the worm, take out 3 squirrels, and then Deep Analysis for 2 or for 3 life, and draw 2 cards. I might have done that before the blockers. You could have, well, even if you swords one of those squirrels, the worm still dies. But you could have swords the Hermit. Yeah, I might have sequenced that a little bit differently. Alright, we got City of Brass. We're playing out the last worm. Okay, Wall of Blossoms, digging for another answer. I think he just pulled Swamp. He's got another Wall of Blossoms in hand, too. the very least, he can keep putting up blockers, drawing cards, which is not the worst. But leaving a lot of mana open right now. Maybe representing removal. I know he still has the one call the herd. Alright, cool, yeah. Second, all being played out. Didn't quite see what he drew there. Swamp for turn. And with just 3 mana up. Oh, yeah, we're gonna have him edict something. Yeah, edicting the bird makes a lot of sense. You already have a ton of mana out, probably more than you'll need. And it looks like both players might be flooding a little bit. Oh, that wasn't a land. That was I thought that was one of the layers again. No, that's the wall that makes the blue and red spells cheaper. Blue and black. Sorry, green and blue. Sunscape Familiar. Good blocker, good ramp for those bigger green spells that he's running. Even the Cunning Wish, I guess that really helps with too. Alright, swinging in here. Just throwing up some blockers. There we go, there's the trick that I was talking about. Swordsing, the Hermit, and all of a sudden that squirrel is no longer trading. Alright, and then we're gonna get some more flashback cards here. I imagine there's not too much to dig for. Get a couple of draw spells, I guess. You could throw a Prismatic Strand in there if you're worried about some damage coming through. Oh, also Ray of Revelation, I guess. So I think that is the last of the deep analysis. I think he's only running 2. The strands, and then yeah, the Ray Revelation. So basically just filling his graveyard with answers. And Mose got answers of his own with another Bailoff, which is going to be good for at least another 4 life. So really slowing this game down. Neither player really finding a huge advantage here. I mean, having a 6/6 out is not bad, but you know, Mose can just animate his Treetop Village and double block. David, though, getting a few more cards in hand. Not sure what exactly we saw. I think we've seen 2 swords so far. But still has the option to draw into those. But it's just going to swing in for 6.
Two swords in there? Already spent 1, 2.
And that is a good point, Mose. Checking on the Prismatic Strands. I forgot that also can be a good combat trick, not just a fog. So he could potentially still profitably block here. But that Strands is going to be a problem no matter what.
Second main, and I'm just going to pass it.
I'd almost be tempted to try and get it out of the way now to avoid issues with combat in the future.
Does this become green when it?
David calling out that yes, I see your treetop village and all your lands. Not sure if Mose was intentionally trying to obfuscate it at all, but seeing a bit of an opening here. Maybe Mose coming in for an attack.
I'll take it. Go from 11 to 7.
And David is not gonna block. Every creature he's got on the board is way more valuable than just trading or chump blocking. I think that's his third meddling mage. But what would you name with this one? What would lose you the game, I guess, in this instance?
I'll say smother. Swing first. Let's see.
Maybe more of those edict effects. I think you almost would pick creatures, right? Maybe just pick another. I don't know how many Deepwood Hermits Mose was running main, so that might not be the best choice, but
I'm gonna call her. I'll swing for like that.
all right, big swing here. We're gonna block with the Treetop Village. Is it getting swords? No, it's just dying. Which one of those meddling mages hit the graveyard? Would you name Call the Herd again if you're making that swing in? Hey, we got a Crowsome Tusker. That is interesting not to play it out, though, unless it was named by one of the mages. These two have played a lot together, so maybe David has a bit more of an insight on Mose's regular 75. I don't know if this list has been changed up much since the last time he played, but maybe a bit of inside knowledge here helping out with David naming the Tusker. Because Mose did have several in his deck, and it is one of the bigger creatures in his deck as well. This is a very close game despite what it looks like on the board. David at 7, Mose at 5. That Prismatic Strand could really be the decider here. Someone else bumped the camera. I think I'm gonna have to put a little fence around it for next time. People trying to squeak through and sit on other sides of tables or something. Maybe just put it in a better spot. Either way, when it's not getting bumped, I think it's been a huge improvement, which is great. Mose thinking through his options, seeing if he has a way out here. He can definitely keep stalling the board a good amount, but eventually there's going to be enough chip damage getting through that David could present lethal. Interesting. All right, he's going for it, swinging for 4. And David's gonna take it. Drops to 3. And Mo's really representing some tricks here for sure. There is another meddling mage in hand for David. What would meddling mage number 4 name? And do you play it before or after you swing in? I almost think you do it after, because I imagine, well, currently right now Mose can only jump block with the treetop village, so he'd have to block the worm. But this also represents, I think, some sort of instant speed removal. Okay. We're gonna flashback that sorcery, which I forgot that sorcery that gives a creature flying has flashback. And we're just gonna swing in, gain 4 by sacking the Baloth, lose 6. Everyone's at 3. And let's get our our 4th meddling mage out there. And mine for Bird's Paradise with, I think that was a Cunning Wish in hand. Oh, I see there. Okay, I was like, wait, why did that swamp act like a strip land? Or strip mine? It was the Dust Bowl, that's why. Alright, yep, that is gonna do it, I think. Mose cannot play out another blocker, showing that he had a counterspell that wasn't going to do too much in hand, but that is going to be game number 1. Here we have game number 2. Both players sideboarded, brought in some spicy tech, I'm sure. Not exactly sure what David would have brought in, since he does have so much of his sideboard as a Wish sideboard. But I imagine a lot of graveyard hate coming in for Mose.
Yeah. And people mess around with natural order in that deck, right? Yeah.
Looks like this hand is not going to cut it for David, shipping it back. Taking a look at Mose's sideboard here, looks like there actually is not a lot of graveyard hate. He's got a 1 Duress, the 4 Engineered Plagues, a Vendetta, a Smother. Both of those would probably come in, I think. The Tempting Worms are kind of tempting. No real big creatures on David's side, so having those big threats could be pretty solid. Maybe the Haunting Echoes comes in. There is a lot of blue counter magic in hand for David, and draw spells and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, surprisingly, I'm actually looking through the main deck now for Mose as well, and there is no graveyard hate. Very interesting for a rock deck. Alright. Cabal naming, well, that's one way to prevent graveyard hate, I guess, getting rid of that tutor for all your flashbacks. Alright, we got a cave into a birds. I was playing out a treetop village and giving it a pass. Oh, interesting. David brought in the coffin purges, probably for the call of the herds, I'd imagine. And it's just gonna pass. Alright, we got a couple of birds, a plains, and a mine. Mose and end step gonna cycle. Tapping 2 for, yeah, Wall Blossoms. Why not? Draw a card. The rock definitely is a incremental value out deck for sure. And interesting, gonna attempt the flashback. I believe David can coffin purge in response, right? That's an instant. Can you respond to the casting? But still, I don't think you can. I might have actually tried to hit that in his during his turn. If you're gonna lose it anyways, you might as well hit the cabal. Prevent more knowledge with your hand. But both players not really drawn into too much threat-wise. David just 2 in hand. Both not presenting a threat. Do you just animate the treetop village here and try and get in for 3? Get some early damage? I say early, it's turn 4, but still. And again, Mose, I'm going to recommend new sleeves. You got to be cleaning them up. Might be time for some new dragon shields. Not a sponsor, just the best sleeves you can get. But not the matte dual ones. Those like 2-color ones. Those things, I don't know why they just split on me so often, but the plain old mattes, like solid color, jet is my preferred. Those things will last a while. And another cabal. Imagine naming prismatic strands, right? No. Looking for that swords, I think. Just playing it safe. Tap to animate. Now knows that there's a clear path. Unless David was super sneaky and put his swords in the side to wish for. That would be clever. I don't know if you do it, but that would be clever. All right, and 3 getting in, not worth blocking with the bird. Makes sense. Not worth using the strands either. I think on end step here, David's gonna wish. What are you wishing for? Or maybe just hold on to it. I mean, it is a very dangerous target for Cabal therapy. Just gonna fetch here, shore up his mana a little bit, get a blue source, I imagine. Yep. Yeah, I am interested what David put into the sideboard, because he could potentially wish for some of the stuff he took out. If it was any instant speed. Creature hate. I don't think he has a good way for blowing up lands. There's no strip mines or anything like that. Oh, interesting. Okay, so he's gonna wish for a Coffin Purge just to hit the Cabal. Or sorry, no, he's gonna flash back the Coffin Purge. My mistake. Gonna play out the Sunscape Familiar. Makes everything a bit cheaper. Specifically, his Cunning Wish. Also not a awful blocker for the Treetop Village. Obviously just a chump block, but at least no trample damage is getting through. Oh, thank you guys for adjusting the mat. I don't think it's square, but it's better. Appreciate it. Now, Mose deciding what he wants to do here. The fact that he's thinking this long makes it seem like, oh no, he does have a, I think that's a Tusker in hand. I would almost just play that out, right? Get a big threat on the board. Nope, alright, just gonna animate the Treetop Village and swing in. Down to 13 for David. 13 to 19. I think this game's actually even going slower than game number 1. Neither player really having a solid threat on board. Oh, we got effects in your upkeep. And yep, just gonna kill the Sunscape Familiar. Had to think there if he wanted to use the Cunning Wish. Ooh. And that is very interesting. Alright. We get part 1 of the combo. Granted though, David doesn't have enough cards in hand to present a lethal attack next turn, even if he Cunning Wishes for the other piece. At 19, you would need a lot more cards than just the one you'd have available to discard. And Mose still not wanting to play out a big creature. Seems like he's seriously considering animating the treetop, though. Oh no, here we go, Pernicious Deed. Yeah, that'll mop up the one-ups, or the one-drops pretty nicely. David is looking through. Did he maybe put the Ray of Revelation in the side?
Yeah, no. Let me double check. Yeah, no response to that. It's off.
Also, I'm not even sure if that was a sideboard. I saw some Fire and Ices in there. I might not have the most accurate sideboard photo. Fire and Ice is definitely interesting. Alright, we're just going to crack the Pernicious Deed. David's going to float mana. And now is he going to use it?
Okay, yeah, go.
Nope, just going to pass turn. And David's just going to pass it right back. No play. Now, at this point, I might be a little more hesitant to try and drop a threat with David being untapped. The smart play might just be to animate the Shell Village, but we're just going to play out Wall Blossoms first, then animate, and try and get in for 3. Now, if David's not going to wish here, I think, yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's the time to use the Prismatic Strands. Alright, we got a Yavimaya Coast. Is that what he needed, though? Well, it does help. He is going to draw a few cards. And just going to pass the turn. Did he draw enough gas, though? I think he might have just drawn 2 lands. Or land in another Sunscape Familiar, which does not help. I was asking to see what's in the graveyard. We got a Deep Analysis. I think that's... Oh, and Prismatic Strands. I think those are the only 2 flashbacks. Oh, we might actually have 2 Deep Analysis. Yeah, looks like that's the case. Currently all tapped out. I feel like this is when you try and drop a threat down. Yeah, you could chip in another 3. But if that's all you're doing, you're giving your opponent with more control options a lot more time to stabilize. Hey, there's some graveyard hate. Now hold on. Let me go find that photo real quick. These guys might just be pranking me. Let me see. All right. Yeah. No, I got Mose's deck list pulled up again. I do not see a Withered Wretch. Guys, why you do this to me? All right, well that makes perfect sense to have that in the sideboard, and I'm glad to see it because, yeah, that's a really good card to have against this flashback deck. So just gonna hit the Prismatic Strands and one of the Deep Analysis. Makes sense. And is also a 2/2, so is a viable threat. All right, we got a Meddling Mage. Probably at this point I would name the Call of the Herd, but maybe even Pernicious Deed, or I mean maybe a Cabal. He's used 2 of them. All right, passing back to Mose. Plays out another land. Definitely has not been mana screwed this game. Ooh, he does have a Returning Nightmare, which is interesting. Nothing really big to hit. Alright, we're just gonna be swinging in. Alright, both coming in for 5. And how much do you want to keep that Meddling Mage around? How meddling do you want to be? Not that meddling. Alright, I mean, it makes sense. I imagine there's not too many Withered Wretches, not having the most accurate deck list. But yes, Mose can just get it right back. Recurring Nightmare is one of those sweet cards that is way too busted to be in any format other than Premodern, but is not quite good enough to be absolutely busted in Premodern because the creatures are not as good as they are now. But still smart trading in your Wall of Blossoms. Get some more graveyard hate, let alone another creature that can be chipping damage in. Dave's gonna take 1 off the fetch. There you go to 9. And without some kind of interaction or threat, this is looking not so great for David. Those chip attacks have been adding up quite a bit. Even Reoccurring Nightmare, read. That Cunning Wish has not done a lot this game. I imagine he's just holding it out for a combo or for some decent piece of interaction. Depending on how many Coffin Purges David brought in from the side, he could potentially interrupt a Recurring Nightmare trigger, because it does target. Exiling the card that Mose wants to get back, I mean. Alright. Treetop Village is up, and we are swinging in for another 5. And David goes down to 4. Got a Dust Bowl, tapping 4. Is this where the... Oh, no, we're just activating Dust Bowl. Got it. Alright. David, I think, is going to fire off a Wish response here. Go grab Prismatic Strands. And that will be good enough to stall for one turn, at least. Assuming he has a way... Oh no. David's showing the hand here. He's got 2 of the combo cards that don't do too much if he doesn't have a creature out.
No more.
And the prismatic, of course. So, really not looking good here.
I'll say black.
Alright, yep, just gonna fire off the prismatic strands. And then go to main phase 2. Get the Bailoff. And then, yep, let's remove your prismatic strands. Okay, so I don't think that's gonna do it, and Mose is gonna take game number 2. Game number 3. Alright, the first 2 were some pretty long, drawn-out games, lots of back and forth, lots of interaction. I'm assuming this will be the same for the 3rd game. Especially with that hand David has. That's looking pretty good. He's got his 1-drop, he's got a swords for it. I didn't see the red second piece, but he might have a Cunning Wish. And Moses is gonna follow up with a Treetop Village.
Not yet. I have 2, but I sided 1 out.
Okay, so at the very least, David's gonna be getting in a point of damage here, but if he has the right lineup of pieces, could be swinging in for lethal. Like I said, I don't think I saw the About Fate.
Because if I'm not finding this, and I have, like last game, I ended with 2 About Faces.
Or About Face, sorry. But he could have it. You could even draw it if he has a red source. There's a City of Brass.
Yeah, I'll swing for
Nope, just swinging it for 1.
colorless and
Alright, playing a Brushland and a Sunscape Familiar.
on the wall.
Nope, just gonna go Vendetta that. No cheaper spells for you. And probably just gonna pass the turn. No green 1-drop creatures in Moses' deck right now. Okay, chipping in for another 1.
Island.
Out comes the island. Oh, and a second one, and pass. So it looks like there's a Meddling Mage potentially in hand. Interesting not to name it.
That is
I got Wall of Blossoms.
annoying.
Or not to cast it, I mean. Oh, that's why. We're just gonna counterspell. Or Mana Leak.
Land, swing for
Okay. I think that's Deep Analysis.
okay. And
Just taking 2. And David looking in a very good position here. Just keeping mana up, playing the controlling game. He's got the clock until Mose draws a green source. And can start blocking with that Treetop Village if he wants. Did not draw the green source. David also still having that swords in hand as well, which could be a real problem. Ooh, Pernicious Deed. And maybe wishing he had kept something up, because if not, his 1-drops are going goodbye.
save this for deed or save it for
Pointing at the one and only Fan League. I guess he has 2 in the deck.
the
Saying he wish he had kept it up for that. Makes sense.
yeah, I think I have no response.
And Mo's just gonna crack it now. Might as well.
Go.
And pass on to David's turn. See what he can find. So he did not have a Meddling Mage. I think he just drew another Plains. Chooses not to play it out. He's got enough mana. Finding that green source Ooh, and a hermit coming down, and all of a sudden things are looking very bad for David. Even with that swords on the hermit, probably going to be a problem. All right, we're grabbing some spicy cyborg tech. Some moon, I believe, is deal 2 to all creatures, right? Let me look that up real quick. It's not clear in his deck list. One damage to each creature target part controls, which is enough to kill the... Yeah, great response. Didn't even need the swords. Alright. The rest you take one of your swords. 2 swords in hand. Wow. Yeah, very good save from David. That was going to be very bad very quickly. Plays out the planes and just passes turn. Is that a Tormod's Crypt too? And Mose's hand. Mose! Why'd you send me the wrong deck photo? Hey, and we got another threat. It's definitely a good target for the swords, but are we going to do it? Sure, might as well. Gain 4. You can gain 4 either way, you don't need to sack it, but it's the principle of the thing, right? And we got a defender up. Sunscape Familiar. Just enough to block the Treetop Village for 1 turn. Still might be worth it, honestly. No, just gonna play out another Bailoff and pass. I think that's the better call for sure. With 2 swords already gone, David's answers are not great. And just 1 card in hand, which I think was the Cunning Wish. No, he already used that. I'm not sure if I know what that one is. Another Wall of Blossoms. Is that a Friction Flesh Gorger, maybe? I think he's only running 2 in the deck. Alright, 1 more Duress. And giving David a little bit of hope with the worms, but nope, we're just going to Tormod's Crypt right away. Alright, and then 2 for the village. Suddenly we're swinging in for a boatload of damage. 7 coming in. I think David's just taking it all, going to 9. This is not looking good. Another birds. At the very least, David can chump block some. Another Wall of Blossoms. And we're just swinging in for 4. 3 more for the Phyrexian Rager that I saw. Lose a life, draw a card. And really just kind of flooding the board. Another Treetop Village coming down. Representing some serious lethal damage. Metal Mage. Got another blocker. Start trading, at least with the Rager. And naming what, I wonder? Well, we'll see if it matters. If Melee Mage worked for activate abilities, it'd be an even more busted card. Alright, we're just going to put both Treetop Villages out here. Swinging in for a ton. And that is going to be game. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this experiment. Obviously this wasn't a tournament match, this was just for Braggin Rights. Very interesting decks. Yeah, that combo deck didn't unfortunately get to do its thing, but oh man, I gotta tell you, when it does, it is a sight to behold. I know David was playing a few more matches on camera for this recording session, so maybe we'll see it go off. But yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos coming out. The next round of tournament videos is going to be early next month. The actual tournament date is going to be the 28th, so give me, at least a few days for the first video to come out. But until then, take care, and I'll see you next time.